Welcome to the B.O.O.B. Show, where you know we're always back on our bullshit. Today, we're handling mental wellness. Laura's not here with us, so I'm taking over the segment. We have a special guest. David, would you introduce yourself, my brother?
Absolutely. So, my name's David Henning, and I've been a financial professional since 2007. But Steve approached me about this topic because of my personal experiences with some mental wellness issues in the past. So,
all right. Well, I got some questions here, people. We're gonna get down to nitty gritty. Now, Dave, I don't want to start hot and get personal right off the jump, but from my understanding, you had a tragedy in your family. How did it impact you and your family?
So one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about what I do is I know the good that we can do for families because of personal experience. Not too long ago, my wife and I, we lost our niece. And she had been battling her entire life with a thing called Wilms tumor. She was diagnosed at 3 years old. And if you don't know what Wilms tumor is, it's cancer that affects all the different organs in your body. It keeps coming back at different things.
Oh, wow.
And our niece had been impacted, and she fought this for a long time, pretty much from the age of 3, clear up until she passed away in her early 20s. So this was a long battle for her, and she struggled, but she was the most amazing individual you will ever meet. She just had so much energy and love for everybody else. She was well known. People respected her, and her goal was to at least make it to her high school graduation, which she did. And there was a huge contingency of people that were there cheering for her and happy that when she did graduate. And like I said, everybody loved her. But she battled Wilms tumor for a long time, so she was constantly in and out of the hospitals, going through chemotherapy and different treatments. And if you know anybody that's been through cancer, it's a tough battle. It wears on you because it's something that you're always concerned about coming back. And with Wilms tumor, it does come back, and it comes back viciously, all the time. And people don't realize how strong most of these cancer patients are. And it takes a lot of mental toughness to go through that and fight it as long as most of them do.
Wow. Now, that's a lot. I understand 100% where you're coming from because my dad died of colon cancer, plus one of my nephews, he had leukemia. My dad, he didn't win the battle. My nephew definitely did. Preston Zink, shout out to you, survivor, bud. Love you. So it's definitely a heavy impact, but the fact that that you had to deal with so much, because that's what I think a lot of people don't understand, is that when a family member is sick, it just doesn't affect the individual that's sick, it affects everybody that's close to that individual. So with just how much you're expressing how close you are to your niece, I can tell that it was a huge effect at the end of the day, because you raised her. Because a lot of people, some people know our kids, our nieces and nephews, so they don't understand. A niece or a nephew is your own child. It might be your brother's or sister's kid, but you still take care of them like they're your own. So it's a hard punch that a lot of people don't understand that could completely destroy somebody mentally, rip them apart when something tragic like that does hit the family. So I definitely, give you the claps and the props, because there's people out there that can't handle these situations, and the first thing they'll do is walk away on a family member and just act like, hey, it never happened, or I don't want to have nothing to do. I got my own problem to deal with it, So, bro, you're a wonderful individual, and I've known you for years, over 10 years, and I know personally that you are a wonderful individual, and you go out of your means and ways to help people. So I know that personally, but our viewers don't know that because it's the first time they're meeting you. But now they're hearing your story and hear your concern, the tone in your voice. They know of the caring person that you are.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. But I really want to say all the props go to her mom. And I say her mom, but Lindsay was adopted by my sister-in-law. Because Lindsay's dad passed away. And so she adopted Lindsay, you know, when she was a baby. And she took care of her. So she was a single mom that cared for her all these years. And if you don't understand like the struggle and the battles when you're helping somebody with cancer, you know, a lot of times she had to take family leave because of taking Lindsay to and from treatments and everything else. She had to make sure that she was there for all the doctor's appointments. It was special schooling that she required, you know, because she couldn't go through the regular routine most kids go through. There's a lot of things that we take for granted all the time. And so my sister-in-law has been a single mom this whole time, taking care of her and 2 other children. And so, you know, she's had that struggle all these years. And, you know, like I said, it takes a strong person to do that. And, you know, her mom, you know, did all that for her and made sure that she had everything that she needed, the care and everything else. And so, yeah, it's not me. I was always just kind of like the one that when Lindsay needed to talk, I would be there and just listen. I didn't comment. I didn't, you know, I didn't judge. I didn't criticize anything. But I just wanted to be that person that was there for her to listen and comfort her a little bit. You know, and her mom had to be the strong one all the time and, you know, give her guidance and maybe tell her some of the things she didn't want to hear sometimes. You know, and be that strong person in her life, even though it was probably really difficult for her. So there's a lot of things you have to think about, you know, when you're discussing that with somebody, or like, you know, to be understanding when a loved one is going through all that, because you see the pain, the suffering, the struggle, you see everything. But like you said, it's not just that individual, it's the people around as well that are going through it with them. But fortunately, she was surrounded by a lot of great people that cared about her and loved her and made sure that she knew that, you know.
Well, that's what counts. Well, I want to give the moms a shout out. Ain't nothing wrong with having good parents, man. And I really feel like as parents, sometimes we are undermined and people forget how much you have to do as a parent until those individuals have kids for themselves. Oh, man. But I want to bring something to your attention, Dave, okay? I did bring up some numbers, okay? And I brought up these numbers after our first conversation in regards to the situation. And when I brought up these numbers, like, I was baffled, okay? Like, I was like completely baffled because unless, you know, this is the world we live in. Unless you look it up, you don't know what it is. You're just going off of, here's it, you know? But what I found out, okay? I found out that 17.8% of cancer diagnosis per 100,000 children is younger than 15 years old. And 77.4% cancer diagnosis are adolescents and young adult ages 15 to 39 years of age. Only 4.8% is adults older than 40 and older. In hindsight, 1 in every 285 kids would be diagnosed with cancer before their 20th birthday. How do you feel about those numbers, bro?
And, you know, I talk to a lot of parents all the time, and none of them ever think anything's going to happen to their children. And it's a gruesome thought. You know, my wife and I, we have 4 kids, and you don't ever want to think about anything like that happening to your kids. But it does happen a lot more often than people realize. And watching Lindsay grow up, right? And watching her go in and out of the hospital. So we spent a lot of time at All Children's. Okay, so we were at All Children's, and most people don't know this, but my wife is a nurse. Okay, and I always told her, I said, why don't you become a pediatric nurse? You know, because you get to help all these children. And she said, I can't do it. And I'm like, you know, you help people all the time. But she's like, when you look at children and you see them struggling or suffering, it just tears you apart, because we don't ever want to see children suffer. But when you're at All Children's and you see all these kids that are in and out of the hospital all the time, you realize this is a lot more common than people think. You know, most of us take it for granted when our kids grow up healthy and they don't have cancer or they don't have other things that afflict them. You know, and we take it for granted every single day. But when you're surrounded by it, you see the impact it has. So yeah, those numbers don't surprise me. because I've seen it, firsthand. I've spent most of my adult life looking at that. So I know how important it is to make sure, we spend quality time with our family, with our kids, and we embrace every moment, and don't take it for granted. A lot of times our kids do stupid things, right? And we want to yell at them and we want to be angry. But we need to love on those kids as much as we can.
Facts.
So
That's facts. That's some strong words. I know the cameraman back there, Chris, I know when you heard those statistics and those numbers, they got you shot back there, don't it?
yeah.
I got a big one for you, Dave, okay? So, I keep hearing about this $1 million baby plan. Fill me in and fill in the people out there. Because I believe not only am I missing out, a lot of people's missing out.
So the $1 million baby is something I am extremely passionate about. It's one of the things that drives me, and I recommend it to people all the time. And we just talked about some very serious issues and things that happen. It's life and death, right? So the $1 million baby is a policy you can put on your children. Okay, so we talked about all the negative things that could happen, and people are like, I don't want to think about getting insurance on my child. I just don't want to think about it, right? Because you want your child to grow up and you don't want the negative connotations. But I will tell you, if something happens to your child like that, you don't want to have to go to work right away. I know if anything happened to my kids, I would want the time to grieve. I could not focus on work if I had just lost a child. And these policies will allow you to take that time and grieve, and not worry about the financial side of things. Because the last thing in the world you're worried about is money when that happens. And you shouldn't have to worry about money. So this allows you to take the time and process a little bit better. Because if you never really deal with it, that's something that'll stay with you for a long time and have long-lasting effects. Okay.
So this plan, it allows them to use money to help pay for expenses, to help the child.
So first and foremost, it is a life insurance policy on a child, which sounds weird, right?
Okay.
But it is a life insurance policy on a child, because you'll hear a lot of people say, oh, you don't need life insurance on a child. They're going to be healthy, they're going to live a long time. Well, that would be the best wish, right? So I always tell people, I'm going to prepare you for the worst, but what we're going to do is we're going to hope for the best. Okay, so now we just look at the dark side, right, of getting a policy for a family or on a child. But I want to talk to you about the good things.
All right.
Okay, so I mentioned my wife and I have 4 kids. We love those kids more than anything in the world. And we put a policy on each one of those kids, not with the expectation that something bad is going to happen to them, but with the expectation that something amazing is going to happen for them. Okay, I asked Chris a minute ago, I said, if I showed you a way to save money for your kids, okay, where you could put money away and that money would be allowed to grow tax deferred and you'd be able to access it tax free, okay? So as little as like $100 a month can create a policy that you no longer have to fund when they're in their 20s. But if designed properly, those kids will have 6 figures in that policy when they're in their 20s.
Apologize, group. Some water, no need to interrupt. We continue, Dave.
So, as low as like $100 some a month, you can have 6 figures in that policy by the time the kids are in their 20s.
Okay.
Well, most kids in their 20s are what? Graduating from college.
Facts.
Okay. So, student loans are a problem in this country.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a big focus with it on the government right now, and they want to forgive certain debts and things like that. But the average tuition is somewhere around $20,000 a year. And for a 4-year school.
And that's right? For university?
For a university, right? So for a 4-year tuition, you're looking at close to graduating with student loan debt of close to $100,000.
So where's the room to survive after you're finished with college?
So that's why most people spend their entire adult life paying on student loans. I'm going to share something really scary with you.
Okay.
If you were to Google, right now, go on Google and you look up, what is the US government's biggest asset? What would you think it was?
I'm gonna assume because people. Wow, student debt. Oh.
So the US government's biggest asset is student debt. Okay? Student loans have surpassed mortgage debt as the largest debt in this country. So why would we want to burden our children with student loan debt for the rest of their life?
Wow.
So these policies will allow you to access the money to help pay for college. Okay? And there's a lot of different strategies you can use to pay for college with these. And one of the benefits is the money inside of a life insurance policy does not affect you for FAFSA. So when you go to college, you fill out a form called FAFSA, right? It tells you how much financial aid and scholarships you qualify for. If you realize if you put money in the wrong place, it could disqualify you from financial aid and scholarships. Okay? A lot of us have like grandparents or parents that want to help out the child. So they'll give you money over the years, and you're like, I want to be a great parent. Let me put that in a checking account or a savings account for that child in that child's name. Well, do you realize that in the FAFSA formula, there's a thing called EFC, Expected Family Contribution. What they look at is the parent's assets, the parent's income, the child's assets, and the child's income. Do you know anything in the child's name is weighted more heavily than anything in the parent's name? So you're actually hurting your child by putting it in an account in their name. Well, there's two types of assets that do not affect you for FAFSA. Okay? Retirement assets and life insurance assets are not put into the formula for expected family contribution. Okay? So these life insurance policies are very effective to save for that child's future education. But what if your child is super smart and they get a Bright Future Scholarship? Or maybe they're athletic, they get an athletic scholarship. Or maybe they don't go to college, right? If you put that money into a 529 plan, which is what a lot of people will do, or you put it into Florida prepaid, what happens to that money?
529 on Florida prepaid. I'm assuming that, I don't know.
Well, a 529 plan, one of the benefits is the tax advantages.
Okay.
But if your child does not go to college and you access that money, it now becomes taxable.
Oh, wow.
Also, a 529 could disqualify you from financial aid or scholarships.
So why would we want to use that then?
That's what we're told to do, right? The other side is look at Florida prepaid.
Okay.
Great program, locks in the cost of most colleges,
Okay.
right? And it helps either assure like a 2-year, a 2 and 2 plan, or a 4-year plan, depending on how you fund it. But again, what if your child doesn't go to college?
That's a waste.
You get all that money back, okay? So what did you lose? You lost opportunity cost. All the growth that you could have gotten with it, okay, have then been put somewhere else.
Because it was just sitting, and now the kid that went to college, so
But-
there's no interest that was made off of it. It was just flat money.
But if you have a $1 million baby plan,
Okay.
that policy is growing, it's mirroring the market, it's not in the market, but it mirrors the market, so you participate in the gains, but you don't participate in the losses. Okay, so you have potential for growth, but no risk. Okay, so it's growing the entire time, it's outpacing inflation in most cases, but now they don't go to college. What if your child needs money for a down payment on a home? Well, it's not gonna be taxed like the 529, and it's gonna have more growth than a Florida prepaid. So now they can use it for the down payment on a house, to buy a car. There's a concept called bank on yourself, and that's what they're talking about. It's how you actually leverage the money inside the policy to pay for these things.
Wow.
Okay? But even better, let's just say your child is very financially responsible. They don't have to put another dime in because you fully funded it. Okay? But now when you're ready to go retire, how would you like to be able to access 6 figures a year in tax-free income? So I asked Chris.
Hold on. I don't mean to cut you out there. You got me going crazy here. Hold on. So you're telling me, right? All right, let's make sure we're on the same page here, and I'm not going crazy. So you're telling me I opened up this plan, right, for my newborn, right? This plan will sit with this money, and they'll have access until they die.
They will have coverage the rest of their life. And so let's just say you do have a child that develops cancer.
Okay.
Once they develop cancer, they're almost uninsurable.
That's facts.
In most cases, they will not ever be able to obtain insurance later on in life. But once they have a policy as a child, they're almost guaranteed issue. And the policy can never be taken away, regardless of any cancer diagnosis or anything else.
I got another question for you. So, you know, my 16-year-old, she has narcolepsy. Would she qualify for the plan that after they were because she's so far in and she's already been diagnosed?
She's been diagnosed, so that's going to affect if she's able to get coverage or what the cost will be. Okay, so $1 million baby, you can get any child under 18 that doesn't have severe medical issues already covered automatically with no medical testing or anything like that. So they now have the coverage. Okay, now the policy can only get better, it can never get worse.
Okay.
So when they get issued under 18 as a minor, they're going to get a juvenile rating. Okay, which is like a standard rating. But when they reach the age of majority, 18 plus, they're super healthy, no health issues, never been diagnosed with anything. They can go in and get underwritten fully. And now they can get like a preferred rating, preferred elite, or a better rating based on their actual health. So the policy can only get better, never worse. Now, I want to share something else that happens too. At 18, if they apply for full underwriting, they can get something called living benefits. Now, this is important for the discussion we're having. Okay. So living benefits. When most people think life insurance, they think death.
Okay.
How would you like to be able to access a policy while you're still alive for certain benefits? So now they're over 18, they get a policy with living benefits. Living benefits cover chronic, critical, terminal diagnosis. Chronic says you get hurt or injured. You can have access to the death benefit while you're still alive if you meet a couple criteria. Critical, now that cancer diagnosis. You get diagnosed with cancer, heart attack, stroke, organ transplant, blindness, loss of limb, a lot of things like that. You have access, on most cases, somewhere between 10 and 80% of the death benefit while you're still alive.
Wow.
So if you have a $500,000 policy, you may have access to hundreds of thousands of dollars while you're alive. Now, why is that significant? Most people think health insurance covers everything with cancer. It does not. Health insurance typically covers chemo. Now, do you think medicine has advanced and there's some alternative treatments out there?
No, that's on the market.
But there's advanced treatments that are available, but you have to pay out of pocket. Do most people have 80 to 100,000 or more to pay for these advanced treatments, even though it will save your life?
And if you don't have an insurance plan or married to somebody that has insurance plan to have you on it, then you're even worse.
But remember, major medical only covers chemo.
That's it.
That's it. It will not cover these other treatments. But with this policy, you get diagnosed with cancer, you have a cash benefit that you can use for whatever you want while you're still alive. You go and you get these treatments, you survive, guess what? You don't have to pay that money back. That was your money.
Wow.
So remember, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. I want my children to live a long, healthy life. But if they live a long, healthy life, I want to make sure that they don't outlive their money. And that's what these policies will do. Make sure they don't outlive their money. Okay? On the other side, something severe like a cancer diagnosis happens, you have access to funds to get better treatment.
So, hindsight. I don't know if you kind of caught this too, right? And you're probably gonna catch what I'm saying, Chris, right? And Dave, you probably already reading my head, probably 10 steps ahead where I'm about to go with this. My entire life growing up, the way that I always understood life insurance policies was like you said a little bit ago, most people believe that life insurance policies are there to bury you when you die. But then now after hearing everything that you're saying, and it really breaks down, life insurance policy, it's supposed to be able to help you during your life, not after you're gone. So we've been using life insurance completely wrong.
Not death insurance, it's life insurance.
Life insurance.
Right? So the question I asked Chris
Uh-huh.
is if they could go back in time, his parents could have set him up with a policy,
Mm-hmm.
and he was set for life, man, what kind of gift would that be?
That's better than any gift that can be given because it's a guaranteed financial backing. Bro, you know what? Bro, come on. If we would have had that when we were younger, bro, as soon as we were done with high school, boom, we would have purchased a house.
Well, gone to college.
Bro, for me to go to college, I'm paying out my pocket, and I'm a disabled vet.
Yeah. People don't understand how money works. So what I want to teach people is how to leave a legacy, not a liability. Because if you teach your kids the old school way, the poverty mindset, right? Go to school, get a job, right? Pay off your loans and all that stuff. You just create perpetual poverty. I want to teach you how to leave the next generation better off than you were. So Chris's parents could have set him up for $100 a month to be wealthy. All of my kids have a policy. All of my kids will be left better off than I was, even though my parents did a great job with me. Right? So I want to teach people how wealth works. Get your money to work for you, not against you.
Facts. Bro, that's the game plan right there. Like, you have it lined out. People, if you're not understanding and you're not getting, when you watch this video, watch the video 100 times if you have to, so you understand the concept. And then reach out to this man. I'm telling you, David will take care of you. I don't care what part of the country you're in, what part of the world you're in. It doesn't matter. You're only gonna know if this is gonna benefit you unless you reach out.
When the pandemic hit, what happened? All the student loans, they're still being accounted for.
Bro, let's think about the bigger picture. When the pandemic hit, how many people lost their jobs? You know what I mean? And didn't have anything.
And student loans that they still can't forget.
Yeah, if they had something like this, they could have had something as a backup. Matter of fact, like, just think about this, right? And tell me if I'm wrong, right, Dave? If I'm wrong and if I'm misunderstanding this. So, if the person had $500,000 saved up on this policy, the pandemic hit, they're living in an apartment, and they lose their job and everything, and they go, you know what, I can't survive like this. You know what, I need to just buy a house out, cash right, for $100,000, $150,000. They can do that, and then they would just turn around and pay that back to the policy, or that they said.
So yeah, in certain policies you can, just borrow the money from yourself and pay off certain things. So the beauty of this design is I'm showing you how to leverage this to create wealth for your children. But as an adult, you can leverage these to create wealth for yourself. Okay. So what happens is you can put money into this policy, and you know that your family is protected from day one. Okay. So if you pass away, your family's going to receive a death benefit that will take care of them. Okay. But even better is as you accumulate money inside this policy, and you have an emergency like a lot of people did with COVID, you'd be able to access the money inside the policy to keep you afloat. And you could pay bills and things like that. So you can establish an emergency fund inside there. But ultimately what you want to do is let this money cook in there, let it grow, and now you reach retirement age. And now you have a tax-free income source that you can pull from. And if you design this properly along with a 401k or something like that, you may be saving yourself tens of thousands of dollars a year in tax liabilities, because you can lower your income tax bracket by utilizing this alongside with a 401k. Or if you're young enough and you design these properly, this is way more efficient than a 401k.
Social Security is needed.
Well, so that's probably we already know, like, that's dried out. We can be told all day long there's money still in there, but the money that they're taking out of people's paychecks for Social Security, it's already gone before man, bro. It's bad, bro. And that was when I first met you over 10 years ago. They was talking about Social Security's going down the drain. Social Security's going down the drain.
Well, COVID's had a huge impact on Social Security because of the stimulus packages and things like that. Social Security was anticipated, so the Social Security pension fund was anticipated to be depleted by 2034. Because of the pandemic and COVID and everything, they're now saying that it's taken like 5-6 years off the lifespan of Social Security. So now in the 20s, right, the 2020s, Social Security is expected to be depleted unless they do something to correct it or fix it.
Wow.
So Social Security is not something you can count on, right? So it's even more important to understand that the old school system of saving for retirement is broken. It used to be called like the three-legged stool. Okay, so what did we have to live off of for retirement? We had Social Security.
Okay.
Most of our jobs offered a pension. Okay, it used to be 80% of corporations offered a pension.
They don't do that.
And we had personal savings. Okay,
Nobody saving.
so Social Security, I always tell my clients, let's prepare for not having it. And if you do get it, it's a bonus, right? Pensions went from 80% of corporations offering a pension to now less than 8%. So we can't count on pensions. The only thing we have left to survive on is personal savings. But unfortunately, most people don't save enough to get into where they need to be in retirement.
Or used to during the pandemic, like we did with our 401k.
And
They said
so,
we use it tax-free. Most of us wiped it all off because we needed it. So now we're stuck.
so let's stop. The 401k, when it's created, was a good concept. Because the 401k was created in the late 70s. Okay, because pensions were going away, they designed the 401k to supplement or make up for the pension strategies. Okay? So at the time, in the late 70s, the top tax bracket was 70%. Can you imagine giving up 70% of your income to taxes? So what the government said is they created the 401k. So the 401k, all that is Internal Revenue Code, 401k. Talks about the taxable treatment of your money. So they said, we're going to give you a tax benefit for saving for retirement. So whatever you save for retirement now, we're going to allow you to not pay taxes on that income. Okay, so remember, top tax bracket 70%, very beneficial to put that money away pre-tax dollars. And it was going to be allowed to grow tax deferred, which means no taxation on it as it grows. But when you go to withdraw that money later on, okay, you're going to pay taxes depending on whatever income bracket you're in at that time. And they said taxes will be lower in the future. Well, guess what? Taxes are lower. We're at historical lows right now. Okay, so you would have made out all right if you started saving back in the 70s. But for a younger person right now, if we're at historical lows, in your opinion, Steve, do you think taxes are going to stay the same, go down, or go up in the future?
Go up.
They're probably going to go up. We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball, but we can anticipate because stimulus, COVID, all these things happening. We're talking about hyperinflation right now. Okay, student loan forgiveness. Okay, all these benefits being paid out. How does the government pay for these things? Through taxation.
Facts.
Right? So in order to pay for all these things that are happening now, they will most likely raise taxes in the future. So how much sense does it make to defer paying taxes now at historical lows to pay a higher tax bracket in the future on a larger sum of money?
That's a big oxymoron. That doesn't make no sense.
Okay.
Why would you want to do that? Why would we want to do that?
You don't want to do that. And then, so Chris, we were talking about 401ks, right? If people have a 401k,
For example of what I did and how much they're charging. So in other words, if I go with life insurance, I won't pay no interest because I'm paying myself back.
So
See, like I borrowed $1,000 not too long ago, and to pay myself back for my
they're
own
charging
money,
you 5+%,
6.55%.
6.5% on a 401k loan.
That's my money that I put.
That's like a credit card payment.
Remember, 401k is money that I put in myself.
I know. So why you have to pay interest on something that you're taking?
I mean, with life insurance, you don't, like you were saying.
So life insurance is a different vehicle. There's a thing called an alternative loan on life insurance. So they may charge you 5% on your life insurance. In some companies, charge you 5% to borrow that money on an alternative loan. But you are credited whatever the market returns. So if the historical returns are somewhere between 10 and 15% on a 30-year historical, right? If they charge you 5, but they credit you 10 plus, how much interest did you pay? You made 5+%. You didn't pay, you made money. Okay? But I want to finish up on the 401k for a second. Because if you are working a job and your job offers a 401k, what is everybody at that job talking about right now with that 401k?
That they're making money. They're saving
They're
money.
losing money right now. Because this year the market is down. So they're all concerned about another market correction like 2008. So everybody is fearful of the money in the 401k. Because in a 401k, you bear all the risk. Right? Market does well, you do well. Market does poorly, you do poorly. But with these policies, you mirror the market, but you're not in the market. So market goes up, we give you the gains. Market comes down, you don't participate in the losses. So you don't have any fear of market risk.
And you know what? I do recall in 2008, there in 2008 when everybody 401k went to
201ks.
Bro.
Because they lost 56% on average.
Bro, a lot of people lost money. A lot of people lost money. A lot of people lost money. I mean,
So let's talk about market losses for a second, because most people don't understand this. Younger people will say, that's okay, I have a long time, to regain those losses, which is true. They have a longer time frame to retirement. Okay? But put yourself in the shoes of a 63 or 65-year-old with all their money in a 401k. If you just lost half of what you spent 40 years accumulating, that's a devastating loss. If you save up $500,000 in your 401k and now you're down to $250,000, you have to second guess your ability to retire.
wow.
But why would that person take that option to work extra when they could just go this way and work minimum? Like if I knew I lost it, why would I want to work extra years to accumulate something I lost in the stock market? I'd rather go to the life insurance, get a lot smarter.
And with y'all both saying that, just to top this off, right? For all our guests and all our viewers out there, some people don't understand the repercussions or the accepting the punishment of having a 401k. And in 2008, a lot of people did lose their money, and a lot of people took their lives because of the loss of money they lost in their 401k. This month is not only Children Cancer Month, but this month's also Suicide Prevention Month. So if there's anybody out there that's feeling down financially, whatever the case is, and you feel like you're gonna hurt yourself or do something to yourself, call the suicide prevention line. At the end of the video, I'll make sure that I have that listed. But think of, check yourself in. Even if you get Baker acted, voluntary Baker act yourself. At the end of the day, don't worry about what people is going to think about you getting Baker act or whatever the situation. What you need to be concerned about is the loved ones that do care for you that's going to be affected by your actions. But people definitely be safe. I'm sorry, David, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
No, you're fine. That's an important point. I've lost friends to suicide, and all I know is I wish they would have called me, because I would have been there for them. And a lot of people that go through that thought process, they don't think that there is anybody there for them. You think all hope is lost, but it's not. Trust me, any one of your friends would take that phone call in a heartbeat to have you back and spend that time with you.
that's facts, 100% facts, 100% facts.
So when we go to sign up for the life insurance and all that stuff to get it going.
Well, I'm interested. Hey, you're right there, Chris. You know what, Dave?
Like
Because
out that level 401k hurt me. Working extra hours just to pay myself back.
for real, bro. I probably realistically, and I can't, blame my older generations, because there's a lot of stuff that, our generations are learning and learning and learning, and we're learning as we're going. So I don't hold anything against my parents for not putting me into a plan like this to definitely have helped me out, because realistically, I was riding a bicycle when I first moved to Florida from my mom's house to Red Lobster where I was working at. And it was miles. It was miles. I had some super legs. I probably was one of those kids that could dunk in the school, and I really could dunk. I was sure too. But I had some super legs. Chris definitely looked out for me when I met Chris, and Chris definitely huge blessing. And then the same thing with David. When I met David, David's been a huge blessing in my life. These two individuals right here has been a huge blessing in my life. And at the end of the day, I want to thank both of them for the simple fact, because Dave made a huge point just now where he said, he would have wished that he would have got a phone call from one of those individuals before they did what they did. And you know what? I've been through a lot. And Dave know, Chris know, and I mean, sometimes, man, life is tough, man, and life doesn't roll you no sweet dices, and I really mean sweet dices, because you rolling 3 dices at 666, that's a big number, but when you get all ones on those 3 dices, it's a knockout. And sometimes you really do feel like there's nobody there for you or nobody to assist you, and in your mind, I got PTSD from the military, so I really know what it is to be like feeling like nobody's there for you, and then you cut yourself off from the rest of the world. You go into the corner, and sometimes you gotta snap yourself out of it, because realistically, it'll take you such down a path that you're not even thinking clearly. So I really appreciate both of y'all for being here with me. And I appreciate you for doing this interview with me, Dave, because this interview is hugely important to me. Because I can relate with you, Chris can relate with you. The rest of the B.O.O.B.S show that wasn't able to make it, they had other endeavors that they was dealing with. So they will put their thoughts and comments in regards to once we go back and we record with them later. But before we do go any further, what I do want is for David to tell us what's the best way to get in contact with you. I'm not gonna have him going through the process as far as what you need to do as far as filling out an application. When you contact David will go through the step process with you, because if you try to figure things out yourself, you're just gonna make things hard. And this is it's very simple. I make things hard, and trust me, David makes things easy. He makes things very easy. I'm gonna hand the microphone back over to Dave and let Dave provide all that beautiful information that we're gonna need. Trust me, I got 6 kids. We're gonna need Dave when we talk a little bit more about this and get this money situation.
Yeah. So something you said that was important is like, man, I wish my parents would have done this. Everybody says that, right? And it's not that your parents don't want to do it for you. They would love to make sure that you're financially secure and that you're way better off than they ever were, right? It's just a lack of education. Like, nobody's taught them about these solutions. We're taught the old school way of doing things, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a new school way, and that's what we want to teach people. So I have a passion for teaching people. I have a passion for educating people and making sure they understand the decisions that they're making. So the easiest way to get a hold of me is just through my website. If you go to thefinancialeducators.com, go to thefinancialeducators.com. All my information is right there, all my contact information. You can even go right on there and schedule an appointment. Okay, so you can research me, you can look at everything on the website, and you can find me very easily. All of my contact information is right there on thefinancialeducators.com.
I'm gonna try something out real quick. If this doesn't work, y'all don't laugh at me and make stupid comments. But if this works, where I'm pointing at, you should see his link. If I do this right in the video editor. If not, it will definitely be in the credits. That way you'll be able to find all of David's information, and trust me, I'm gonna make sure that you stay in contact. But also too, something else that David didn't really mention to ya, right? But believe it or not, when you have a passion and if you can relate to what me and David and Chris was talking about today, and you can truly relate to the situation, right? Then consider possibly also talking with David as possible, as far as what can you do to help the community. And what I mean by helping the community, could you possibly go out there and sell insurance to your friends and family members so that way, you'll make some type of profit at the end of the day, but at the same time, you're helping your friends and family out, but at the same time, put money in your pocket. I'm definitely gonna put that in also. Give me 1 second, people here. We got a little technical difference. You know how we do in the B.O.O.B.S show, back on our bullshit.
That we will put David's information in the bottom comments, so whoever wants more information about life insurance could just click on his bio.
You know what? Hold on 1 second. I'm about to be a jerk here real quick. How about to be a jerk? You know what? Why would the cameraman step out and say that to the crowd? He's been hiding, Mr. Miami back there. Come step out, just smile for the camera, Mr. Miami. You already know that the viewers love seeing you, Mr. Muscle and stuff. Show them your muscles, Mr. Miami. FYI, Mr. Miami, we're working on his exercising page, which we'll talk about in the future. We'll definitely talk about. But
He's still shy.
He's still shy, but he relates. He's had family members also too that has some toughness. We're definitely gonna do something big. Another huge thing too. We're gonna be doing a raffle, and we're giving away a pair of sneakers. I'm gonna give y'all the details as far in the future, and probably in the next episode or the next episode after that. But I'm gonna give y'all full details as far as what you have to do to get into the raffle. I would like for David, I purposely left him over there. If David could show y'all what y'all gonna be winning in this raffle.
I thought you were leaving me a gift.
Oh, look
on the show.
Look at that. Hey, you know what I learned too? David taught me today too. If y'all go to the Michael Jordan golf course, you know what? I ain't gonna tease y'all. Just understand, man. When I hit that $1 million mark in my life, I will be signing up with you, Michael Jordan, to come to your golf course. I got my reasons. We're gonna keep that a secret. But drum rolls. Oh no. Okay. You know what? You mind if I tell them a secret? I can tell them a secret? Bro, you get a pair of Jordans every time you go to play golf.
I know how to play golf.
Bro, if I got money, I'm going, bro. I'm fine with the pair of Jordans just for the free. I'm happy with that. But unfortunately, Dave is not going to be taking the sneakers personally for himself because he wants one of our viewers to get it. But if he had an opportunity, trust me, he would not be letting these sneakers slip out of his sight. Which some of you already know just by looking at the box already what it is. But we got some military 4s that we're going to be giving away in a raffle. Oh yeah, pull them out so they can see they don't. It's all right. Now, those military 4s are the first sneakers that's going to be on the raffle. As the weeks are going, we're going to be adding more sneakers into the raffle, and then when the raffle comes to the close, everybody, is going to get their opportunity to win that sneakers and whatever sneakers else is on the list. But it's definitely going down. So make sure you subscribe, you like, you follow any Instagram channels related to the page. Reason why, because that's most likely going to be part of the policy to get it done, but we're going to get it done. Keep your eyes out. Military 4s, you already know those sneakers are $400, $450 on StockX right now.
What size is it?
Those are 9.5.
You're lucky your goddaughter was mad.
Woo! You see he wants a pair of those? Oh, sleep. Look, my goddaughter wants a pair of these sneakers, and I can't even get her a pair of those. I might honestly just get her pair just to get her pair because that's my little princess. So, you know what I'm saying? If you watch the video and you see this, then I'll know if you watch it because you're gonna come to me and say, Uncle Steve, remember you said that you'd get me a pair of these. If you don't say it to me, then I know you didn't watch the video. All right, people. Well, before we close out with this segment here, one more time, I'm just gonna have Dave just give you his contact information one more time for y'all individuals, because I know you got a couple individuals that won't watch to the end and just listening to what we're saying. So Dave, hit them one more time, hit them with that best shot.
So it's thefinancialeducators.com.
Heard that.
And I'll give you my QR code to drop in there too.
Oh, see, so if this works, I'll be able to do this or this, and there's probably a QR code above me or the left. Just know that if I get everything worked, you're gonna see stuff popping up and getting it. Well, hey, I want to thank David again, brother. Hey, you are the best, bro. You are the best. I want to thank David for letting us come in, record here. Bro, that's nothing too. Reach out to David too in regards to bro, I'm gonna post a video as far as so y'all can see what this wonderful place look like. You can do videos here and so forth. David will provide you with all that information on the cost as far as you want to rent out a space, vice versa. He's gonna get with you on that. But once again, I want to thank David. I want to thank our cameraman Chris. I want to thank the rest of the B.O.O.B.S show that's not here.